For your viewing pleasure, this broadcast of the Municipal Council meeting of Alpena is made possible by the funding provided by the City of Alpena. Thank you for your generosity.
Good evening. Welcome to the Alpena City Council meeting, July 5th, 2016. Call the order, please.
Johnson?
Here.
Nielsen?
Here.
Noah?
Here.
Sexton?
Here.
Walagora?
Here. Please rise for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any modifications to the agenda this evening? Approval of the minutes for regular session of June 20th, 2016. Any issues, problems, changes? Okay. Citizens appearing before council on agenda and non-agenda items are allowed 5 minutes each to address their concerns. This is the only time during a council meeting that citizens are allowed to address council. If you'd like to do so, please come to the podium and state your name and address for our records.
My name is Terry Bell, 123 West White Street. My concerns are the basketball courts, the lights. I've talked to the engineer twice about just getting the light bulbs in there. And I've been out there at 1 o'clock in the morning, there's kids out there playing basketball. And the other night I just turned them on. There's one light that comes on. The lens is so full of bugs you can't even see through it. It's just a matter of getting some bulbs in there. I'd like to see that done. I did it last year, I asked about it this spring. And I don't know if they're 220s or if they're 110s, I don't know what kind of light bulbs they are. If they're 110s, you can get a 300 watt equivalent, it's a big fluorescent light bulb. You get them in the day color, but if they're 220s, I don't know.
All right. Thank you, Terry.
Yeah.
Definitely noted. Engineers here.
Hi, I'm Judy Hart. I live at 115 West Louis Street. And I'm here tonight because I'm concerned about the fireworks ordinance. My understanding is that personal fireworks are allowed on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th from 8 p.m. until 1 a.m. And I don't understand, first of all, why they would be allowed 3 nights in a row. I'm all for fireworks on the 4th and celebrating on the 4th. But, and why until 1 a.m.? In our neighborhood and all around town, from people I've talked to, they've been going almost constantly for about a week. And if there's an ordinance, it just seems to me that 10 or 11 p.m. would be sufficient. People work early. I've talked to many people about this. It scares their young children, it scares their pets, elderly parents, veterans with PTSD. It keeps people awake who have to get up early in the morning to go to work, and it's just plain annoying. So my other question is, if there is an ordinance, is it being enforced? It doesn't seem to be. I know the police can be busy with many other things that are much more important, but if a few of these people would be cited for doing it out of the hours of the ordinance, maybe that could help. Anyway, I thank you for listening to my concerns. I'm not sure that anything can be done by this, but I have talked to many, many people who are very upset about this, and I really don't, I don't know what the procedure would be to get this changed, but I would at least like it to be considered when it comes time for it again. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, Judy.
Perfect segue. Hi, I'm Bill Forbush, your fire chief. I'd like to report briefly on the fireworks season this year and on the 4th of July fireworks show at Mishikiwas. First off, with the dry conditions this year, the fire hazard from fireworks and sky lanterns has increased exponentially. Certainly, we've been very fortunate so far that that has not happened, but it certainly could with the conditions that we have. The Fireworks Safety Act of 2011, state law, restricts the amount of oversight that local communities can have on fireworks. Very important. Lost her? That's too bad. Very important to realize that the day before, day of, and day after, we are not permitted to restrict. And the only times that we can put on is as she said, 8 to 1. Beyond that, we could say anything we want, but it wouldn't be legal. The state law supersedes local ordinance. The local ordinance that we put together with the help of Mr. Pfeiffer exactly follows the state law to the limit that we can do that. So unfortunately, we can't address that particular need except for the issue of enforcement. There were a number of fireworks complaints handled by APD. I don't have the final statistics on it, but they did respond to a number of them. Usually whoever's letting them off hightails it out by the time the squad car arrives, and you don't usually catch people at that, but they tried really hard. We did have one thing change a little bit this year, and that is 4th of July fireworks at Mishikiwas. We did some rather aggressive enforcement of the fireworks ordinance in terms of using fireworks or sky lanterns on city property, which is always prohibited. We've got a significant increase in compliance. We saw no sky lanterns at all. There was a little bit of fireworks use, but it was quickly squashed. Several tickets were issued, and we really, hats off to the citizens. The compliance was much, much better. The crowd was very well behaved, very cooperative. When we asked them to put them out, they did. There was really no problems at all at the fireworks show. And also, the one primary supplier of sky lanterns, Neiman's, voluntarily pulled them off the shelves, and that's why we didn't have a ton of sky lanterns. And they did that just because we asked, and I really appreciated that. So fireworks went very well this year. I just wanted to pass along that, not take up too much time. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. All right, seeing no one else, move on. Consent agenda. A is bills to be allowed in the amount of $608,837.22.
I move we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second. Nielsen?
Yes.
Noah?
Yes.
Sexton?
Yes.
Walagora?
Okay,
Johnson?
Yes.
thank you. Presentations, announcements, proclamations, hearings, down to report of officers. It's A, our bids. First up is the CPR devices and monitors, or / monitors.
On June 28th, sealed bids were opened for the purchase of 8 CPR compression devices, 2 high-performance CPR meters, and 2 monitor defibrillators. Funding for the project has been provided by a federal grant from the Federal Emergency Management Agency almost a year ago. It actually runs out in August, so we're very happy to get this taken care of at this point in time. Much of the delay in moving forward with the project was that the technology in CPR compression devices was evolving, and we wanted to make sure that we didn't invest in equipment until it met the very latest standards, which were updated in 2015. The new equipment will make a tremendous difference and may in fact increase survival rates from the national average of 3 to 5% to upwards of 60% with high-performance CPR through a program we'll be telling you more about at the future meeting, and the use of these devices. Because we were able to get the compression devices way under budget, we were able to use the surplus federal funds for 2 monitor defibrillators, which we desperately need on the ALS units, and a couple of CPR meters that we'll be using in the high-performance CPR initiative that we're rolling out countywide. All in all, the total comes to $111,874.82. And as fire chief, I recommend the city award the bid for CPR compression devices, high-performance CPR meters, and monitor defibrillators to Emergency Medical Products at the amount of $111,874.82.
Is the monitor defibrillators, is that a very specialized, I'm assuming specialized piece of equipment that the other two just do not supply whatsoever? I mean,
Exactly.
okay.
There was only one of the bidders who bid on all of the products. I imagine they could, but they didn't.
Okay.
They only bid on part of it, so we didn't award it to them.
Okay.
Bill, just real quick, why the necessity for a CPR device when our firefighters are trained in CPR? I guess what's the difference?
Well, that's a very good question. What we found is in the latest studies, the American Heart Association put out 2015 emergency cardiovascular care guidelines, upping the number of compressions per minute to 120. Previously, it was 80 to 100. Then it was pushing 100. Now it's 120. And they recommend that you swap out rescuers every 2 minutes to maintain quality CPR at that rate. The problem is that many places that our ambulances respond are many, many, many more than 2 or 4 minutes away from the hospital, and it's virtually not possible to maintain that quality of compression during transport if the transport's 20, 30 minutes away. So these will make a huge difference. On scene, we're going to use what's called high-performance CPR, and we've got another grant from the Michigan Rural EMS Network, and I'll be telling you more about it at a future meeting called My Rescue, Michigan Resuscitation Consortium. And we're going to be doing some training for our own city employees and for first responders throughout Alpena County to teach them a new pit crew style, very fast, very choreographed CPR that absolutely increases survival rates. We're going to use that manual CPR on scene until we're ready to transport. And then the last thing before we move into the ambulance will be to put this compression device on and have it take over compressions, which then frees up the paramedics to give medications and airway control and so forth. So it should make a huge difference. It is being used in a number of other communities around, but we're the first one here in this our little corner of northeast Michigan to take the whole thing together as a comprehensive approach. And we're very pleased to have federal funding to allow us to get there because they're pretty pricey.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions for Chief?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. We need a motion, second.
Yeah.
I move we approve the purchase of the CPR compression devices, high-performance CPR meters and monitor defibrillators to emergency medical products in the amount of $111,874.82.
Second. Noak?
Yes.
Sexton?
Yes.
Walagora?
Aye.
Johnson?
Yes.
Nielsen?
Yes.
Thank you. And next up is a reappraisal of residential class bids. Jeff Shea.
Good evening. Quality and accuracy of the residential assessment records in the city been slowly deteriorating over the last several years, mainly because we've not done a comprehensive re-inspection of all the parcels in many years. While many of the houses have been properly maintained and even improved since the last citywide inspection, many have also gone the other way due to neglect and deferred maintenance. Now, the only way I see to correct this issue, to fairly depreciate all the buildings, is to conduct a citywide inspection of all the parcels to determine the actual condition of the properties as they sit now. This problem was realized as far back as 2009 when I was comparing sale prices to assessed values. And you see that some would sell way over the assessed value, some would sell way under. When I researched why this was happening, almost 100% of the time you go out there, oh, this property's gone way downhill since the last inspection, or oh, they put a new kitchen in here and they put all new carpeting and did all this other work that we weren't aware of through the building permit process. So that is why they happen. Now, since then, we've tried various methods to correct that problem, such as hiring a summer student to try and conduct a reappraisal. Well, in one summer, fairly bright kid who knew his way around and knew the assessment business, did 15% of the properties, working all summer. Now, at that rate, it'd take 7 years to complete this reappraisal, and by the end of the 7 years, the houses you looked at in the first year are already way out of date. Could have gone away. And it's important to implement our findings all at once, because that way you're not, to keep it fair and accurate and equitable among the properties within the city. So the best way is to do it in the least amount of time possible, so that the first one you looked at is, your time frame is still similar to the last one you looked at. The plan is to implement this all with the 2018 assessment roll. So they'd work all the summer of 2016 and the summer of 2017 to be delivered to me November of 2017 to be implemented with the 2018 assessment roll. This project first appeared in the 2010-11 capital improvement plan for the city, and it kept getting pushed back due to budget constraints until this year when City Manager Sundin insisted that this project get a higher priority. So as soon as the budget process was complete and we knew this project was in there, we went out for proposals on this project. We sent proposals to 8 different firms that we knew were competent to complete this project, and received bids from 3 firms, and the results are as follows. Preston Community Services out of Lanesburg, Michigan, bid $45 per parcel. Berg Assessing and Consulting from Rogers City bid $47.50 a parcel. And Tyler Technologies from Moraine, Ohio bid $51.91 a parcel. Now, based on our estimate of 4,088 residential parcels, that would amount to Preston around 184,000, Berg Assessing around 194 total project cost, and Tyler Technologies 212,000. And this is to be spread over 2 fiscal years, to pay half in the first and half in the second fiscal year, because that's when the work is being done. The local bidder's preference does not apply in this case because all the bidders are outside of the city and county of Alpena. I did contact the references they listed on their proposals and found that all the firms were very qualified to handle this job. They had good reports from the units they had worked in. So the low bid from Preston, $45, we found out afterwards cannot be considered because they also perform equalization services for the county of Alpena, and it would be a conflict of interest for them to prepare the assessments in the city and then equalize them at the county level. So that left us with Berg Assessing at $47.50 per parcel. Now, also in Berg's proposal, he said if he delivers it after November 1st, 2017, we would receive, there would be a 10% penalty applied, essentially taking the cost per parcel down to $42.75. So there may still, and depending on when the product is delivered, there may still be time to implement with the 2018 assessment roll. If not, we're looking at going with the 2019 assessment roll. Either way, 3 years to do the project is better than 7 or 8 or 9 or whatever, how long it would take us to do it in-house. Thus, it is my recommendation as city assessor to award the bid to Berg Assessing and Consulting for the as-bid price of $47.50 per parcel, and authorize the mayor to sign the contract for services. So total project cost $194,180. Half of that this year would be $97,000 and $97,090. We budgeted $90,000 for the project. I'm told that the extra $7,090 will come out of the professional contractual line of the general fund, and if there's not enough money there at that time, we would dip into fund balance to complete the project. That would probably be into fiscal year, well, it could be this fiscal year, and also we'll adjust the budget next year for what our payment is to be for the 2018 or 17-18 fiscal year. Questions?
I guess the one I've got, Jeff, is it's $47.50 a parcel. Can you give council an idea of the work that would go into the average parcel? Or, you know, I'm assuming there's photos of every parcel going to be taken along with the assessment. Is the assessment only done from the outside? Is there actually work going to be done on the inside? Just a time frame.
Yeah, so of course, there's preparation work that has to be done. There'll be mailings to each of the parcels, letting them know we'll be out, or the assessing firm will be out within this time frame to contact you. I believe they're also doing a mailer of where you can return information on your house on a piece of paper, so there'd be those mailings. Then the actual inspection, depending on the complexity of the house, it could be 15 minutes, it could be an hour to do that inspection. They're going to try or attempt to get inside to have a look at what the inside looks like. There are rules with the state where if the owner says leave, you leave now. It's as simple as that. You don't go in and you do your assessment from the street. So they've got the mailings prior, they've got the actual inspection, then they've got to enter all that data into a software program to be delivered to me. There could be sketch adjustments, there will be notations on the type of interior finish, the number of bathrooms and all that stuff. A typical fee appraisal, where a bank would go out and appraise a house, would be $300 to $400. So this is mass appraisal. The $47.50, I think, is in today's market a fair price.
Thanks.
You've presented this at CIP before, so I understand. And I think at some point you might have even told us what kind of the rule of thumb for how often this should happen, and we're kind of way behind that. That cities frequently do this to kind of get a baseline, if you will. I guess I'm not really sure. I've never been on this side before and wondered, well, how is someone supposed to assess someone's property accurately and tax them properly if they can't have access to the house? So, but what you're saying is that the homeowner doesn't have to allow that person in if they don't have to, assuming that if somebody doesn't allow somebody in to assess their house, then it's probably in better shape than the city probably thinks it is. But there again, isn't a lot of the improvements that you make to your home deferrable? So isn't it a matter of if you've done something to improve the value of your home, you can defer that? What do they call that? You fill it out with Don downstairs.
It's the Matthew Gas Home Improvement Act that enables that. It's called non-consideration. You don't consider those improvements
Right.
in the assessed value.
And that would take effect even if in the event of this as well. So
Right.
okay. I wonder if there's a way to, when you're presenting this project and the mailer goes out, if there's a way to maybe put people at ease that applies. I don't know. Just maybe they would know. Maybe this, if they do this quite often, maybe they know the trade enough to know how to
Right.
put people at ease that this is what they're there to do.
We currently have over 1,400 properties taking advantage of the Matthew Gas Home Improvement Act, so they're aware of it. Typically, they learn about it through building permits,
Yeah.
but if they put a new new carpeting in or redo their kitchen, they don't get a permit for that, so then they wouldn't know about it, but
Yeah, I
yeah.
suppose.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
Okay. Yeah, just. That's fine. I mean, we all knew about it
Mhm.
for quite some time, so it's nothing new. Anybody got any other questions, comments for Jen?
Well, I'm curious, once we do this and get everything up to date, is there any way to keep it relatively up to date, other than letting it get all out of date again and then going back and having to do this?
There is a way, and these are the numbers I looked at back when we decided this is the best way to do this. If I had an assistant assessor dedicated to this project over the period, and the State Tax Commission recommends every 5 years to do a reappraisal. With my help and that assistant assessor, we could schedule 20% each year, and over the 5-year process, get it done. But those costs, I mean, if we'd have had an assistant assessor for the last 12 years, it would have cost 2-3 times this much.
Thank you.
That's interesting. To balance the two, whether you have an assistant assessor or you hire somebody once every 5 years. Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Action? Anyone?
Just one quick note, I have not reviewed that where I've given approval to it yet. I have seen it, but I need to look at it again. So I would ask that if you do approve it, that you approve it contingent upon my review with the contract with Berg. There may be some slight modifications that we may ask for as it relates to the contract language. It would not affect the amount that you would, because it was a bid, but there is a contract that Berg Assessing provided to Jeff, asking that that be signed if his company was awarded the bid. But I haven't been able to approve that yet.
Okay.
Make that part of the motion then. Okay, we'll do. I move we approve the bid to Berg Assessing for the as-bid price of $47.50 for the city attorney's review.
Second.
Sexton?
Yep.
Walagora?
Aye.
Johnson?
Yes.
Nielsen?
Yes.
Noak?
Yes.
Thanks, Bill, for pointing that out. Next up is unfinished business. Second reading of ordinance number 16-435, an ordinance amending the zoning ordinance number 148, lots 7, 8, 9, and 10, block 24 of the city of Alpena.
Now for full reading.
Consistent with council policy, this would not be read again unless you're dying for me to read it for you. I'm not sure which one was first on the agenda though.
435.
It was 435.
Okay. This is the Thunder Bay Chrysler Jeep property. So we just need a vote, yea or nay.
Move we adopt ordinance number 16-435.
Second.
Time.
Walagora?
Aye.
Johnson?
Yes.
Nielsen?
Yes.
Noak?
Yes.
Sexton?
Yes.
All right, thank you. And then B is the second reading of ordinance number 16-436, an ordinance amending zoning ordinance number 148, lot 7, block 17 of the city of Alpena.
This is a property purchased by Greg Berg to be developed as, at least a portion of it, as a parking lot for his restaurant.
Move we adopt ordinance number 16-436.
Second.
Johnson?
Yes.
Nielsen?
Yes.
Noak?
Yes.
Sexton?
Yes.
Walagora?
Aye. I have when someone moves, please list off the 2 items on the agenda for closed session.
I move we adjourn to closed session to discuss current labor negotiations with the fire ambulance union and ongoing litigation with the Township.
Second.
You said, okay. Nielsen?
Yes.
Noak?
Yes.
Sexton?
Yes.
Walagora?
Aye.
Johnson?
Yes.
I fired myself in that job.
You are watching All About Alpena.